Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be our next unit on genetics, and specifically looking at Gregor Mendel. Let's get started on this next video. So what is genetics? Well, genetics was discovered by Gregor Mendel, and genetics is the study of heredity and how traits are passed from parent to offspring. And Gregor Mendel is the individual that we really crown as the father of genetics. Now, when we're talking about genetics, we're talking about traits, and traits are specific sets of characteristics, something like if we're talking about a plant, seed color, or plant height. This will make sense when we talk more about Gregor Mendel. Now, if we're talking about traits in a human, well, this could be things like hair color. This could also be things like eye color, and it could also be things like what your tongue is capable of tasting, what type of chemicals. Now, Gregor Mendel went and grew up in the Czech Republic, and he was born in 1822. Now, he went and became an Augustinian monk, and during this time being a monk, he spent several years studying science and mathematics at the University of Vienna. And during this process, he spent years and years and years of gardening, and he went through, and his entire goal was to try to make plants grow and reproduce faster. Well, during this process, he went through, collected all this data, wrote it all down, and it was later discovered after his death. And he really went through and created the forefront of genetics and analyzed the data that really allowed us to understand what genetics is and how these traits are passed down in modern society. Now, prior to Mendel, what we thought was maybe if you had a tall dad and a short mom, the resulting offspring was going to be a medium-sized child. However, we know that this is not true today based on our understanding of genetics. But Mendel's gardening really allowed us to better understand why the resulting offspring look and appear the way that they are based on the traits that their parents have. Let's go look at Mendel's gardening in a little bit more detail to better understand this. Now, during Mendel's time gardening, what he did was he cross-pollinated pea plants. And the process of cross-pollination involves taking pollen from one plant and then transferring it to another plant. And pollen really are similar to sperm cells in other organisms. You're transferring genetic information from pollen into the female parts of those flowers. So, cross-pollination here is where we take the male parts of one flower and then dust the female parts of another flower with that collected pollen. And the resulting process is fertilization, and this is going to result in reproductive cells that eventually lead to organisms and plants that will go through and grow. Now, bees naturally go through and do this, and the importance of bees is because the plants are going to go through and provide those bees with nectar, and then those bees are going to take pollen from one flower to another flower and go through the process of cross-pollination naturally in nature. So this is why bees are really important. But Mendel went through and did this on his own via a paintbrush and was able to go through and grow new plants and then look at their traits. Now, if we look at Mendel's gardening, he looked at a variety of different things. He looked at pod shape. He also looked at pod color. He looked at the location of the flowers. He also looked at plant height. He looked at seed shape, the seed color, and then he also went through and looked at flower colors. And he went through and he wrote these down. Now, Mendel noticed that some characteristics seemed to be passed down often while some tended to disappear. And he went through and he coined these terms dominant and recessive traits. So putting numbers to his experiments, Mendel saw that 1 in 4 pea plants had a purebred recessive trait. 2 in 4 had hybrids, which was the dominant and recessive alleles put together. And then the last one, 1 in 4, were bred with just pure dominant traits. And what we really use this information for is Punnett squares. And Mendel was really the one who invented and really came up with this idea for Punnett squares. And using this information of dominant and recessive alleles, we can go through and categorize how these alleles and traits are passed on to offspring. So via all of this math, Mendel went through and discovered a few things. The first thing is the law of segregation, and this states that the genes that control traits are distinct. Now, Darwin actually came up with the original word pangene, which was where we get gene from. And remember, a gene is simply a region of DNA that goes through and allows for specific proteins to occur for a phenotype. And it's a specific unit of heredity which is transferred from parent to offspring. Now, Mendel also went through and created the law of independent assortment. And this is that genes that control different traits switch around when organisms breed. So an example of this is changing seed color doesn't necessarily change a seed's height. The last one is he went through and coined dominant and recessive. And he stated that some traits are dominant over other traits. And we call the dominant traits dominant, and the ones that are dominated over are the recessive alleles, or the recessive traits. So did you guys learn? Well, did you learn a couple of things? Did you guys learn about Gregor Mendel? Did you guys go through and learn the history of Mendel? And then did you guys go through and learn the 3 discoveries of Mendel? This is going to be the end of the video, but I will see you all in class tomorrow.